hello, welcome to our podcast named Corruption and the Global Economy. So for today we have two guests. Let me introduce our guests before we dive into our discussion. So our first guest is Miss NIRAIJNA. Hello NIRAIJNA. So can you introduce about yourself to our audience?
Okay, hi Miss Kumeera.
Hi.
Okay, thank you for giving me an opportunity to this podcast. And my name is NIRAIJNA DEVI and I'm from Penang.
Okay. So then we have our next guest who is called as JENIFER DEWA. So hi JENIFER DEWA, can you please tell about yourself to our audience?
Sure, hi. So I'm so thrilled to be here at this podcast series of corruption and global economy. And I want to thank you first of all for inviting me to join this conversation. And well, I'm JENIFER DEWA and from Ipoh, Perak.
Well, thanks for joining me today. So in this podcast, we have three part of episode. In the first episode, we will provide an overview about what is the corruption is all about, including its definition and also the types of corruption that happening all over the world. And in the second episode, we will discuss the issues that happen because of the corruptions, and including how the corruption is actually affects the economy, especially in the global level. And moving on to our third, or called as our final episode, we will explore some of the solutions of to take over the corruption or how to overcome the corruption. So let's have a short break before we begin our episode 1. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 1. So as I mentioned earlier, in episode 1 we will give an overview of what is the corruption is all about and its definition and its types. So yeah, I'm also very eager to hear what is the corruption from point of view of our two guests. As I know, corruption is actually an international issue that has an impact on economies all around the world. To be honest, corruption is like a twisted version of Robin Hood, but instead of giving to the poor, but they are pocketing to themselves. So yeah, NIRAIJNA, tell me, what do you think corruption is all about?
In my point of view, corruption are the misuse of entrusted power for private gain. It can manifest in many forms, including bribery, embezzlement, fraud, extortion, cronyism, nepotism, and abuse of power. Corruption can occur in both in public and private sector, and it can have a devastating impact on individual communities and entire countries.
Well, that's an interesting point of view. How about you, JENIFER? Since you are from a different sector, I'm sure you totally have a different perspective on what is the corruption is all about. So tell me your opinion.
So from my opinion, I think that corruption has a significant detrimental effect on a country's economy and social progress. So not at just a national level, but also on a global scale. So when business engage with incorrupt practices across borders, it reduces the efficiency and effectiveness of international trade and investment, which will lead to decrease in economic opportunities and hinder global prosperity.
Absolutely bring up a crucial point, JENIFER. When we talk about corruption, it's important to understand that corruption actually comes in many types and many forms. It also matters whether there is a direct exchange of something valuable or it's done indirectly over time. For example, let's look at the bribery public officials. This is one type of corruption that's relatively easy to define and is against the law in most places, even in our country as well. So it usually involves giving money in exchange of requesting something special favors.
Okay, not only that, Kumeera. Now, on the other hand, there are type of corruption where the exchange isn't directly and it might happen over the period of time.
Okay.
This can be hard to catch and prove in the court of law compared to the straightforward bribe, which is already hard to detect because it's kept secret.
That's a really important distinction to make. Recognizing the different types of corruption help us to figure out how to fight against it effectively.
Well, I even studied that nepotism also one type of corruption. Do you guys know what this nepotism is all about?
Not sure.
Okay. Well, nepotism is actually a term or refers to like a practice of favoring our family members or our friends even like a close friends or someone that we know before, often when it comes to appointments or promotion. So it's like, giving like preference treatment to someone just because they are related to us or we are know them. So this can actually have a serious consequences, especially in the organization or even in the government sectors, because this nepotism can actually lead that unqualified people to place in important roles, which will ultimately harms the efficiency of one organizations. So that is all about the nepotism. Could you guys share your knowledge on other types of corruption that we should be aware of?
Okay, in my point of view, the type of corruption that we must be aware is embezzlement. This means that when someone steals or misuses money or property that they have been entrusted with, and also it can occur in both public and private sector. And it also have a devastating impact on individuals and organizations.
So kickbacks is also one of the type of corruption that I'm well aware of.
Okay.
Kickbacks is like a hidden handshakes in business where money changes hands for a favorable treatment. For an example, a hospital administrator accepting money from a pharmaceutical company in return for choosing their costly and less effective medication for patients. So patients suffer and the pockets are lined.
Well, thank you for both for elaborating on these different types of corruption. So we'll carry on the discussion about the serious issue related to the global corruption in our upcoming episodes. We'll go into the challenges that come with resolving these issues and examine how it affects nations, economies and communities as well. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the upcoming episode. Remain aware, remain involved, and let's collaborate to create more transparent and fair society. Have an amazing day. Hi, hello and welcome back everyone to the second episode of Corruption on the Global Economy. So in this episode, we'll be delving deeper into the issues surrounding corruption in relation to the size and activities of governments in various economies. So they say the larger the government, as indicated by its GDP or also known as gross domestic product, the higher the potential for a corruption. It's like with more rules and regulations, there is more room for illegal stuff to happen. But it's also important to remember, countries like Sweden or also Norway prove that you can have a big government spending without the corruption. So in fact, many places with low corruption levels have lots of government spendings. Niraijna, I'd like to turn to you. Could you share your knowledge on the issues related to loss in tax revenue due to corruption?
Okay, yes, Ms. Kumeera, there are several concerns that happen because of corruption, and that is one of them are loss of tax revenue. So tax evasion and the misuse of discretionary tax exclusion are two direct ways in which corruption can affect the tax collection. And only mention that tax evasion also a systematic non-payment of tax due to typically by people or business who bribe the tax official to ignore their non-compliance. Furthermore, discretionary tax exemption involve offering tax discount to specific individual and business forgiven in exchange for bribe or other favors.
Thank you, Niraijna. That's an important perspective to consider. So, Jennifer, turning to you, could you explain on how expenditure are affected by corruption?
Okay, sure, Kumeera. So from my point of view, I think that when corrupt politicians and officials are involved in decision-making process related to public expenditure, it can lead to misallocation of resources, hinder development initiatives and undermine the overall welfare of population. So for an example, the misallocation of resources when government officials award a contract to build a school, but instead the money is used to build a new house for the official or to purchase luxury goods. So as a result, the school may not be built or may be built with substandard materials.
Wow, thanks for breaking it down, Jennifer. It's crystal clear that corruption has a major impact on how governments spend and also on collect the tax. So you both are dropping some serious knowledge bombs. So folks, stay tuned for our next episode where we'll cook up another interesting discussion. Catch you then. Thank you. Hi, hello and welcome back to our third episode on corruption on global economy. So we'll turn our focus on ways to tackle corruption in this episode, and guess what? I think technology is a superhero in this fight. Things like, like a fancy blockchain technology can keep records super safe and making it way harder to sneaky businesses to happen undercover. Now, NIRAIJNA, what's your take on what governments can do to stop corruption in its tracks?
Okay. Government can implement to effectively address corruption such as strengthen ethical standards and public awareness. This can help promote a culture of integrity and ethics with the public sector through comprehensive training program, codes of conduct and performance evaluations. So besides, it also raises public awareness about corruption and encourage citizens to actively participate in anti-corruption efforts.
You are so right. It's all about the strengthened ethical standard and also public awareness. So Jennifer, now let's talk about strengthening the anti-corruption measures. So how do you think that strengthening anti-corruption measures can help to fight corruption?
So this involves enhancing the legal and enforcement mechanisms in order to deter and punish corrupt policies. By beefing up our anti-corruption game, we can create a more robust framework for preventing, investigating and prosecuting corrupt activities within the government. And this in turn can help to deter potential wrongdoers and promote gender transparency and accountability in public spending.
Well, couldn't agree more, Jennifer. We are all in this together. So, and let's not forget about everyday folks like us. Like, we have got power too. You guys may ask how. Well, knowing our rights and having an easy way to report corruption can really make a difference. And guess what? Technology comes to rescue here too. Like, with apps and also website, we can all be a part of the fight against the corruption.
As Kumeera, I completely concur with what you said because there's a lot of innovative approach to effectively combat corruption in the day and age. So collectively, we battle this corruption together.
Absolutely, NIRAIJNA, you hit the nail on the head. It's collective effort and empowering everyday individual is key to combating corruption effectively. When we, as the ordinary citizens, understand our rights and have accessible tools to report corruption, we become an integral part of the solution.
You said it, Jennifer. Now, as we wrap up this amazing journey, I want to hear both of you. What do you think about this World Podcast? Like, what are you guys' hopes for the future in the fight against the corruption? Let's hear from the NIRAIJNA first.
Okay, first of all, I hope this will help to less our corruption in our country, and also it will never exist in the future. And lastly, I wish thank you to Ms. Kumeera because I'm so honored to be here.
Oh, welcome. And how about you, Jennifer?
Actually, I'm feeling quite concerned about this impact on corruption on upcoming developing countries, and it's important to raise awareness of this issue to everyone. So I hope that we can make progress in fight against the corruption, and it will require a constant effort from all of us.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. So to all our listeners out there, thank you for being part of our podcast journey. Let's make the world more fairer and better place. And remember that we are all together in this fight against the corruption. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.